Hey, getting a lot of questions behind the back leg movement to creating pelvis rotation. Like, can we just rotate the leg or femur to create pelvis rotation? Because you see pictures that have a little bit more rotation, say, than extension or drive or have those long strides. You can have more rotation down the mountain, but you still have to create ground force. You still have to try to push and extend against the ground. For example, if I take the skeleton here, which really helps me understand how the skeletal system is affecting the biomechanics, I can see that if I just take this femur and I just try to spin it and turn it by turning the foot over, it really has no influence or very little influence over the pelvis rotation. So just doing this with your back leg isn't going to drive pelvis rotation. What drives pelvis rotation, and the studies show it, is going to be, yes, turning this into rotation, which will get me into my big toe, which will get the femur now open to the target. And if I help rotating the pelvis by swinging the front leg slightly and getting to a slight angle here with the pelvis, I'm now in a position like a pool stick where I can actually push through. So I can push through the pelvis here, and now I'm actually applying forces through the pelvis. See, like, this is not applying force through the pelvis, but this extension where, look, the knee is extending, now the hips extending, that's applying force through the pelvis, which is really critical because high velocity pitchers get a lot of pelvis rotational power, and that's how you get the pelvis to pull away from the shoulder and create that catapult effect. The important thing to understand too is you hear a lot of people say, well, the firing the glute is how we get the pelvis to rotate. But you got to understand, if this leg was off the ground and you fired the glute, it would abduct the femur and the leg would shoot back. So the hips can extend the pelvis, but it'll extend the pelvis with the femur moving back. The only way we can extend the pelvis with the femur moving forward is if the foot is down. Now when the glute fires and tries to pull the femur back, if it ground forces pushes back, that'll actually, by firing the glute, it'll extend the pelvis forward. So the only way you can get the glute to truly power the pelvis forward, if you have the foot on the ground and it creates ground force by pushing against the ground, so it brings the pelvis around as the leg abducts or moves back. Even getting the glute involved to power pelvis rotation, you still have to have the foot in the ground, and you have to use ground forces in that movement to propel and move the pelvis forward. So it doesn't work by saying that just spinning the femur is going to power my pelvis rotation. It's not. Your pelvis is just going to stay right there. You have to put the foot in the ground, and you have to actually push forces through the femur head to actually push this ilium around and get the pelvis to rotate if you're truly going to power pelvis rotation as a pitcher going down the mountain.